Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel in the first place. Today we have a Kenma X listener. It's Adore You by Moonlit Writing on AO3. They also have a Tumblr that will be linked in the description, and let's go ahead and get into it. Kenma has been sprawled across the floor of your apartment on his stomach for 15 minutes now. You walk over and carefully poke him with your foot. Are you dead? He barely lifts his head up. Might as well be. The downpour hadn't ceased since this morning, and the constant intensity of the torrential rains have sent news channels in a flurry of emergency reports. Internet signals have been battered for hours now, with no telling of when anyone would come back online. There have also been reports of landslides and unprecedented floods, with some underground train stations inundated up to a person's hip, causing several lines to temporarily halt its operations. Kenma's train home, unfortunately, was amongst them. However, not being able to go home for a while wasn't what bothered Kenma. It was the fact that you didn't own a single gaming console or had any games installed on your computer that reduced him to a vegetative state. I'm sorry, okay? Your voice startles him a little. I didn't think that having a gamer boyfriend meant I also had to equip my home with games in the emergency event that he can't go home because of floods. Kenma rolls over onto his back to gauge your expression. Do you have to be so loud? I wasn't being... You sigh, dropping yourself onto the floor as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell. You become more aware of it now, how worked up you get over the smallest things. It contrasts with the way that Kenma is so cool-headed all the time, but ever since he pointed it out like that, your thoughts became a little clearer. It's just, you could look a little less miserable to be stuck with me. At that, Kenma fully pushes himself up to sit cross-legged across from you. He inches closer, slowly, until both your knees touch. In his wide eyes, you see his apology before he utters it. I'm sorry, too. I didn't mean for it to come off like that, he says quietly. I like being with you, I do. Though it's still with hushed muttering and a gaze that never meets yours. Your heart flutters at his words. Kenma didn't often say things like that, and though you didn't really mind having to pick up on his intended sentiments through his actions, it was nice to hear it out loud once in a while. You weren't given much time to revel in the sweet moment, however, because Kenma begins to scan the bookshelf behind you, to which he points upwards. Is that a hard drive? You follow his pointed finger to eye the shelf that you've allocated all your old high school things, like used notebooks and tattered novels from language classes. But I haven't touched it since high school. Is there anything on it? You shrug, trying to recall. I think I just have The Sims 3 on it or something. The Sims 3? You try to disregard how bewildered he sounds. I haven't touched it since high school. Well, Kenma gets up and reaches for it, blowing away the dust collected on its surface. It's better than nothing, I guess. But it's only when you plug the hard drive into your computer and the signature blue loading screen of The Sims comes into view did you remember something awfully embarrassing about why you haven't touched this game since high school. To make matters worse, Kenma rambles about wanting to just open one of your old gameplays because he claimed that having to customize new Sims was a waste of time. When he opens up to see your saved files, there is only one titled The Love of My Life. Though you suppose at this point there's no more room to feel humiliated in front of Kenma, he's witnessed your blue days, the dark ones, any color of the spectrum that you felt, and it was always in the absence of his strong reactions do you find comfort and peace in him. Knowing this fact, however, does not diminish the blood rushing to your cheeks when Kenma tilts his head, scrutinizing the appearance of the Sim on screen. Is that supposed to be me? You don't want to back down from the way he's looking over his shoulder at you, waiting for a response. Wordlessly, you just stare back, but this impromptu staring contest doesn't last very long when you both look away sheepishly. Your face is heating up even more now when you notice the blush dusting his cheeks. I told you, last I played it was in high school. You knew I had a crush on you since back then. This looks nothing like me, though. His voice trails off and is replaced by more clicking from the mouse. It's the telltale signs that he's in the zone. His focus only on what's in front of him, whereas his surroundings, including you, melt away. I'd blame the graphics for that, you say to yourself before getting up from the stool you dragged over. You tap him lightly on the shoulder. I'll be over there reading, okay? Okay, he says. So, you plop down onto your bed with your favorite novel in hand and your boyfriend within your sights. Because your computer table was situated at the end of your bed frame, Kenma faced you and the computer screen away from you. If you could, you might just spend your time staring at him, but you refrained from doing so, aware that it might make him feel uneasy or just embarrassed. Taking in one last look before resuming your chapter, you watch the way his eyes glow with the reflection of the screen, and then notice the slight smile on his lips. Surprisingly, you become the one slightly self-conscious when you realize that you can feel eyes on you. You look up to see Kenma, and you catch him stealing the briefest glance. Then, looking back at the screen like he hadn't looked your way at all. It goes on like this for a few until you shut your book altogether. Ken, I've been rereading the last paragraph 6 times, but I can't concentrate because you keep looking at me. Kenma flusters at the call-out, but doesn't say anything to retort, and it prompts you to come over and see what exactly he was up to. You better not be trying to flirt with the Grim Reaper trying to kill my sim by burning. You stop mid-sentence when you find that Kenma is playing a normal gameplay of 2 sims. Why does that look like... You lean over the table to inch closer to the screen, and almost gasped when you pinpointed the resemblance. Is that me? He nods like it's not strange at all. Then again, it shouldn't be that weird to you if you were the one to first make a sim of him back in school. You take hold of the mouse to zoom in on the features of the sim. Everything was as accurate as it could get. Your hair length, eye shape, the bridge of your nose, to even the color of this sneaker's shoelaces. And this one's me. Without warning, Kenma lightly places his hand over the one you have on the mouse, and you freeze at his warm touch as he maneuvers the cursor to zoom in on the other sim in the household. It's better than yours, he adds, but you're not paying attention anymore when you're looking at him. The silence settles, but being this close to him, you listen to the steady sound of his breathing. He calls your name again when you don't respond, but just as he's about to turn to you, you lean in and place a quick kiss on his cheek. Kenma doesn't move. What was that for? His face is impossibly red too, and your heart is beating so loud that he must be able to hear it this close. I adore you, Ken. He places the back of his hand onto his cheek, like he was trying to feel of how much his face had burned up. Me too, he mumbles. Then clearer, but under his breath, I adore you too. Alright, that's the end of this one. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, whatever, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye!